Man, good to see you. Good to see you.
Same here, brother. How's the family? How's look what I got before me.
Ah, volume one. Did you see I sent you the questions for you to work on?
Long time ago. I sent it to you a long time ago.
Oh, you did? So then I must
Yeah,
have
a
it.
long time
Okay.
ago I gave you the answers, but then
Oh,
you was
okay. I got to look for it. I got to look
yeah,
for it.
I sent you a lot of
Uh-oh.
photos.
I feel drunk, man. I don't even drink, but I'm passing out. The camera's going. Yeah.
I moved the book away from the okay, so no, I sent you the questions, I sent you the answers.
Okay.
I did like an interview type of thing with
Yeah, yeah,
you,
yeah.
so
Okay.
that it was like an
I'll go
exclusive
check out
interview that
our
I did.
emails
I
and
sent
our
you
conversation thread. Looking at the one that you have, you see the formatting. So you know
yeah,
how it's going to look. So yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It'll
yeah.
have a different cover.
I
It'll have the
I loved it.
same look of the cover, but the shield on the second one is round instead of vertical. And then the color of the
Okay,
title is different, so it'll be a different color, but it'll say volume two.
that's
Yeah.
all right.
And I think I got
Awesome.
20 or 23 guys in there. Juni Cañete's in there before he passed. We talked a
Wow.
lot. And bunch of guys from the Philippines, bunch more guys I had pictures of already. That book started because I had all these photographs of all these teachers, and I was like, what am I going to do with all these? And I thought, shit,
Right.
make a book comparing, not saying who's better or worse, just tell me your stuff.
Right.
And
Right.
then this is what we do, and then let people know about these teachers and styles. Because how do you judge?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
don't judge.
You
You
can't.
just train.
That's it. It's all.
You
It's
know,
all.
you
It's
don't
all the
judge. You just
person.
train.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've trained, as you know, I've been training since 1976.
Right.
I trained with Chris Sayoc and his dojo that was on 155-31 Jamaica Avenue. That was like the Ellis Island of the Filipino Grandmasters at one time.
It
Like
was.
Grandmaster Baltazar Sayoc, God bless him, he had every, and I'm not exaggerating, anyone that was in the United States who trained in the Filipino martial arts, they were in that basement at one time.
Yeah.
I had the luxury and the as a young man, I had the luxury of training with Pananandata, Marinas. I trained with Leo Gaje for many, many years. Grandmaster Baltazar Sayoc, the Sayoc brothers.
Professor V.
Remy Presas. I trained, with Cañete, Johnny Cañete. We used to go to Jersey in Little Manila. We used to train with them in Little Manila, the Cañete brothers. So I had a wealth of grandmasters that I was lucky and privileged to share the same floor with, man.
Yeah.
When you hear other systems and they talk about Professor Visitacion.
Yeah.
Right? Professor Visitacion, when we were studying under Pekiti Tirsia, he was a classmate. How many people can say that their professor was a classmate?
Right.
They look at you now, how old are you? I said, no matter how old I was, he was
right.
way older than me. I was a teenager when we were classmates.
Yeah.
And I remember my very first introduction. This is a true story, Mark. 1976 or 1976. Me and Michael, we're in the 6th grade, right? And he's introducing me. Yeah, that's my brother from another mother, Mike, right? And shout out to my brother Michael. So he was just getting his brown belt in judo, and he was just getting his lakan guru in modern Arnis. Not even in Pikiti Tirsia, he was getting it in modern Arnis. And the gym teacher asked him to do a demonstration. Now, me and him weren't friends at the time. So I'm thinking he's Hispanic. I'm not even knowing he's Filipino. This is my first time hearing that he's Filipino, right? Like, what? Who's a Filipino? I never heard of it, right?
Right.
So he says, I need somebody to demonstrate on me. I said, I want to try it. So I lifted my hand. So he grabs me and he says, do whatever you want. And like an idiot, I grab him by his shirt and he grabs me, he flips me. Boom, right on my behind. I said, yo, that was mad cool. So this time I went to go sucker punch him, and he was able to do something with his hands. He did some silat stuff on me, and Panantukan, he bounced me around and beat me up, and then he gave me a taekwondo sidekick. And I'll never forget, this kid got a leg like a mule. Michael, at the age of 13, 14, if this kid has some legs on him, man.
Wow.
I never seen a teenage kid with legs that big, you know, and we became instant friends from that point on. We've been nonstop, no matter where. You'll always see Michael and Najee together from the 6th grade all the way to the 10th grade to Hillcrest High School. That's when he moved to Poinciana, Florida. You know, and there goes history. You know, I literally left New York and moved to Poinciana. I left with Chris in the Thunderbird. We left together to go to Florida, and that was the next time I saw Michael. And he wasn't training as much as he was back then, but he was into his cowboy stage. He got into his cowboy stage, I'll put it. But then he started getting back into his training. When I got there, he started getting back into his training. And he was an amazing person using the whip, that short whip.
The latigo.
Who was it? Yeah, the latigo. Yeah, he's very, very good at that, man. And I never learned it myself, but I know that he was very good. But what he did share with me since we were kids is that Christopher Sayoc, you know, God bless the dead, though we were friends, we weren't friendly. We weren't always like close as me and Michael was close. He was more like, he's my teacher, he's my elder, I respect his position. We're friends, but we're not as friends as me and Michael were friends, if I'm making any sense.
Yeah.
So
now Chris is older than you, right?
He was born March 30th, 1963. So our birthdays would clash, right? Because I was born in 64, he was born in 63. So and only for a couple of days we were the same age.
It's like me and my sister. We're 10 years, 10 months apart.
Yeah.
But for like 2 months, we're the same age.
Right.
1.5 months.
For us, it was like 19 days that we're the same age, and then he's 1 year older than me, right? So he's our big kuya. He's the big kuya of the group, you know? And you know, and no matter where we went, he was the leader of the group. You know, like even when we got into trouble with other groups, like the Chinese groups, I ain't gonna mention their names, but we got in trouble. And our group was known as the Pinoys, right? And the Pinoys, we always carry blades. We always had something on us. And if we got into trouble, we handled our business. That was it. You know, some things are left unsaid. Some things, you know, you can discuss it in a roundabout way.
Yeah.
Right. But but we went back then when we was training in the art of the blade mark. It was the issue of being true, tried, and tested. If it didn't work, we didn't use it anymore. If something was taught to us by a grandmaster or a master or a teacher or whatever, and Chris would take it to the lab.
Yeah.
There was a place where we used to go to. It was called Goose Pond. It was right behind Jamaica High School. And this was our testing ground where we would try out what we believed was theoretical, right? If in order for it to be applicable, you got to see if it actually works. So we just, you know, as we would say in Spanish, that's basura, that's trash, right? So he would literally try it, see if it works, like see if the technique actually worked. And we do it to each other, or we do it to someone else that wasn't a part of our group, and he just so happened to be the guinea pig for the day.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying, right?
I hear you.
Okay, so that's how it was, you know. As Godino showed the Book of the Five Rings, where it says, place yourself in harm's way and fight your way out of it. We will put ourselves in harm's way and see how we fight our way out of it to see if it actually works. And if it didn't work, then we tried a technique that we knew that did work, and we go back to the training field and say, yo, we're not using that anymore. Let's try something else. That was when Chris called the group Sayoc Fighting System.
Right.
Right. Before it was Sayoc Fighting System, it was Arnis Combat Course. Before that, it was called the Arnis Combat Course. That's when we was heavily into Pikiti, Tirsia, and modern Arnis. That was like, them two together was what was really taught back then.
Yeah. What year was that? What year was?
Back in 1977, in April, around March, April 1977, when I turned 14, is when we was really getting into learning the basic foundation of Pikiti Tirsia.
Yeah.
And it wasn't known as Pikiti Tirsia Kali. That it was never known as that. It was Pikiti Tirsia Arnis de Mano.
That's right.
It was Pikiti Tirsia Arnis de Mano, and his name wasn't Grand Tuhon Leo.
Right.
It was Master Leo. Just simply Master Leo. You know? And nothing else. And that's when we was a part of NARAFIL.
Right.
The National Association for Filipino Martial Arts. You know, that organization. We was all of us was a part of NARAFIL and Leo, the Leo's Club, the Lions Club. I remember that like it was yesterday. Wow. Yeah. And we was training very heavy in learning the ground, the foundation of Pikiti Tirsia, which was obviously was the footwork and abecedario and the 36 attacks. That was like mandatory for that first whole year. We just delved into singular footwork, double footwork, the abecedario strikes, and conditioning. Oh my God. Mark, when I'm saying conditioning, conditioning. This guy had an insane ability. I'm talking about Chris. He had an insane ability to create different types of ways of us to be abused.
I know that.
Yeah, you're familiar with that, right?
He's very clever that way, and I've been like, what are you doing?
Right, and I like but we had to bypass it. We had to succumb it. We had to adapt to survive. You know, we had to literally hang on to a pull-up bar and stay there in an L shape. And he had a spike bat, that he put nails in the bat. He will leave it on the floor that if you fell, you know you're going to fall on that bat. So you know you got to stay hanging. And what he will do, he'll take a JKD glove. He used a JKD glove, and he used to pound on our stomach. He used to beat our stomach up and punches in our face, punches in our legs, you know. And he would do that only to his black belts. He would never do that to the guys that were underneath a Lakan Guru. He would do it to everybody Lakan Guru and up. And if you couldn't take it, you know, you had a problem that day. You had a serious problem. You had to take a beating every day. Literally, you had to take a beating. And he would say, wrap up what you the one broke up. You know what I'm saying? Go into the room, go put a helmet, shoulder pads, go put on gear, and I'm still going to beat you up because you're complaining. That was training back then.
Yeah.
Try that today. Try it today. You're going to get a lawsuit. Right? So when I tell my kids today how I used to train in the past, they'll just look at me like, huh? What? I say, yeah, you guys have no clue. You guys got padded on. You got padded sticks. You got aluminum blades. You know, we didn't have the luxury of an aluminum blade back then. We had a machete that we bought from the Army and Navy store, and we dulled it by using it.
Right. Yep, we froze up. Let's see.
Please.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah, so we back then, we was ordered to go to the Army and Navy store. We had to get a 007. I don't know if you remember the 007s back then with the little leather strip on the end of it, and you flick it out.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Yeah, go look it up. The 007, that was a very famous blade. And we all wore black farmer pants, like the construction pants. And we used to keep it in our left pocket. And then for those of us who was able to afford it, we all had a balisong. So we all trained with the balisong back then. But the uniform was the black pants, the black t-shirt. We had a white combat belt, a military belt, the regular white combat belt. And attached to it was a machete. And then we had our 007, and we had a balisong for those who was able to afford it. That was our uniform back then. Yeah. And you know, Felix Cortez was my classmate.
Yep.
Yeah, I introduced Felix to the Sayoc group back in April 1977. Back then he was a BMX bike rider. He used to ride his BMX bike around, and we all lived in the same neighborhood. And he saw my shirt. The shirt said Arnis de Mano. And like, what is that? I said, come with me, come hang out. Come, let's take a bike ride. And I took him downstairs and I showed him that he wanted to get more into Taekwondo. He wasn't interested in the Arnis de Mano. But when he saw us do all that cool stuff with the sticks and the blades, then he switched from Taekwondo over to Arnis de Mano. And then like a couple of years later, he started studying Arnis de Mano and Taekwondo at the same time on the down low. We didn't I didn't know he was doing that, but I found out later when he got his black belt. So, oh, that's what he was doing. Okay. But that's what really got him better at the tournament circuit.
Right.
He was doing, when he was in Hillcrest High School, he would do the acrobatics and the flair, all that beautiful stuff. And he would win a lot of trophies. Me, I just stick to stick fighting, the real life stick fighting, and I was cool with that. You know?
That was real good too. Felix is good. Felix is real good. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was my beautiful classmate. Big ups to my boy Felix. Felix was handling his business back then. He's doing it now. He's an actor now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my boy. Yeah, but back then, our training was mostly Pekiti, Tirsia, Arnis. All the way till we got to the 104 attacks, and then we stopped there. Then we started getting into blade work using modern Arnis, Pikiti Tirsia, the things that we learned in Pikiti Tirsia, and then there was what Chris was developing. Like whatever was going on in his mind, we were his testing dummies. Let's see if it works. If it don't work, we'll try this other thing. And that's how he produced, what he's got today, Yeah. But I'm being honest with you. Back then, I did not know about Sayoc Kali until 2006. 2006 is when I heard that Sayoc Kali was becoming famous. I took a long hiatus, right? From 1986 to 2006, I went about my own. I started studying other things. I started doing my own thing.
Yeah.
Started getting into my own rhythm, trying to put my own things in practice, and trying to figure myself out, so to speak. I'm trying to figure out who I am.
That's the personal journey in the arts.
Right.
Chris was doing it all along. He had his father and his teachers, and he was doing his journey, and you were there for that. And then it was time for your journey.
Right.
We all have that time. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And back then I went to work for Chris when he was in New Jersey. He was working for Sony. He was doing something for delivering Sony goods to different manufacturers and different other places. I worked for him for a couple of weeks, and then the journey back and forth from New York to Jersey wasn't panning out for me because I was paying so much just traveling back and forth. So I left that alone. And then that's when he called me and he said, yo, I'm moving to Florida. You got 24 hours to come up with $100 and move with me. So what? Yeah, just like that. It was back in 1981. 1981, he told me, pack up. If you want to go with me, you got to pack up. You got 24 hours to come up with $100 and then you can leave. I said, okay.
Is that your share of the gas? The gas to get down there?
Yeah. My share of the gas and food.
Yeah.
And he eats a lot. You know what I'm dealing with, Mark. I ain't got to tell you no more. That dude can eat.
I take him to the pizza shop and it's like, 3 slices of pizza, 2 meat pies, French, it was just loading the stuff on. Yeah.
He loved it, loved it. So yeah, my mother gave me the $100. I packed up my stuff,
Wow.
we said our goodbyes, and I grabbed my birth certificate, got my social security, and grabbed my clothing that I think I was gonna need for Florida, and I was out.
Wow.
I was out. I was living in the garage of Chris's family's house. I was living in his garage. Check that out. On a couch. They had a couch in the garage with a TV, so that's where I was living at, right?
Nice.
And then I found a job in Florida working for Pizza Inn. That was the name of the pizzeria, called the Pizza Inn. And it became the dojo's go-to spot after school.
Yeah.
Why? Because all the leftover pizza, I used to throw them out outside the back, and Cindy would come and pick up like 5 pies.
Yeah.
For everybody. So I was the man. I was the man back then. Because everybody was getting free food. Yeah.
Yep.
And that's one of my first days I ever met Danny Inosanto, Guru Danny Inosanto, because he came to Florida with Baltazar Sayoc and Chris, and they brought him over to the Pizza Inn, knowing they're gonna get free food. So I got him some sangria, I got him some beer, I got him some pizza, sat down. Chris introduced me to Grandmaster Danny Inosanto, and said, this is one of my top black belts. He's out here teaching the police department. And from then on, we was cool. Me and Dan became pretty cool. And I was going to the school, learning from him and Chris at the same time. Well, whatever he was teaching Chris, and Chris was teaching him, I was the testing dummy.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful experience.
It is.
I got a chance to learn from him, but yeah. And Grandmaster Leo Giron and the rest of them, they was coming through, But when I came back to New York, I accepted Islam. I accepted Islam. I was in New York.
Before you came back to New York, or after you got to New York?
Before.
Back to New York.
Before I became a Muslim. I became a Muslim back in 1986. I became a Muslim.
86. So there was Islam in Florida where you were. There was a mosque.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was heavy into music. Me and Michael, we was into the hustling, the dancing. That was our thing. I was into DJing. Very, very heavy into music, into Broadway dancing. I was very hip to Broadway dancing. And one day I'm passing by a mosque, and I heard somebody he was wearing a long white robe. He had a black kufi on, long black beard. Yeah. And I'm intrigued by his presence because he had such a glow on his face. Like, I've never seen a person of such color. He was black, and he has such a beautiful glow on his face. Like, nice. Like we say, nur, like light. He had nur. He had light in his face. And he was calling the adhan. I didn't know what he was doing at the time, but now, because I'm Muslim, I know he was calling the adhan, the call to prayer. And in my mind, I'm listening to his voice.
Like music.
And I'm wondering I'm wondering how can I mix it in with my DJing, right? Allahu Akbar, zikr, zikr. I don't know no better. I'm young. What do I know, right? And then I stopped him after, I said, bro, what are you doing? He said, I'm calling the Muslims to pray. Pray? What do you mean? What are Muslims? He said, you don't know what Muslims are? I said, no, I don't. He says, you ever heard of Malcolm X? I says, no, I never heard of him. He goes, you've been living under a rock, right? So he said, would you like to hear more from what I was just doing? I said, yeah, please. And it was Juma Friday. It was the day of Juma where the Muslims congregate for prayer. I came inside, and the Imam at the time, he was talking about Tawheed. He was talking about the oneness of Allah, the oneness of God, and what that meant, right? And all my life, Mark, I swear to you, all my life, I was raised into Santeria. I was raised into Catholicism with the Santeria backing it up, so to speak. Right. Like they say we're Catholics, but me being Puerto Rican, everybody's right. There you go. Everybody's doing Santeria. So I never believed in that. My mother used to force me to feed the saints and put fruits and put fruits and money. And man, listen, Every time my mother turned around, I used to take the apple. I used to eat it. I used to grab the banana. I used to take the change off the thing. I used to put it in my pocket and go buy some candy. And my mom, oh, look, the same, he ate it. He ate the food. I said, man, I bust that down myself. What are you talking about? He ate it. Right? Not being disrespectful, but like, this thing can't even defend itself. What are you talking about? I was able to eat his food. How am I going to pray to something that he can't even defend itself? So in my mind, I couldn't pay that no mind. So I always say there's only one God in my mind. I used to get licks. I used to get hit. I used to get hit because I would never go with them to church. I would never go with them to pass by a church, to cross myself. I said, what's this church going to do for me? It got gargoyles on it. What is it supposed to do for me? Right? The Bible says, thou shalt not practice idol worship, but look at this church. It's got idol worship all over the place, inside the place, outside with monsters. And I'm supposed to go in there? I'm not going. So I got hit for that. So when I finally heard what the Imam said about Tawheed, about the oneness of God, I interrupted him while he was giving a service to 300 men.
Wow.
And I said, so whatever you guys are, I want to be one of y'all. He stopped, came down off the minbar, right? Grabbed me by my hand, sat me down in front of him, explained to me the religion of Islam, and asked me, did I agree? I said, what am I supposed to agree to? He said, to believe that there is only one God, to believe that Muhammad is the messenger, to pray 5 times a day, to fast during the month of Ramadan, to give charity, and to go to the holy city of Mecca for Hajj. Do you believe in that? I said, yes, I do. He says, well, the only difference between me and you is to accept your statement of faith. And I did it right there and then. And my life has changed ever since.
Oh.
And alhamdulillah, praise be to God that, I use that because I was going the wrong direction, Mark. I was literally you went blank on me. I was going the wrong direction. I was heading to the bad side, doing the wrong things. And if it wasn't for my religious beliefs, I would have been done, because we're talking during the time of HIV, crack cocaine, we're talking about that era, and things were bad for us back then.
Yeah.
A lot of gang activities, a lot of bad things was happening, and I was getting caught up into that. And if it wasn't for my religious belief, I would have been done. I really believe it. I would have been done. But my martial arts experience, my discipline, along with my Islamic faith, is what kept me grounded and rooted into continuously experimenting with myself, investigating myself, finding out who I am. How can I continue to do the Filipino martial arts without being a part of a group or an association, or being told that I can't go nowhere, I can only train here? Listen, I don't care who you are, what you are, how close we were. You are never going to tell me what I can and cannot do.
Yeah.
Najee Hassan don't play that. If I want to study from Mark Wiley because he's got experience with a lot of other grandmasters, and me and Mark Wiley are cool, and I'm a part of an organization or an association, and you have certain rules or protocols or whatever you want to call it, and you got to tell me that I got to follow that because I'm a member of yours and I cannot go nowhere else, well, just cross out my membership, because I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. I will never allow another man to tell me what I can and cannot do when I got my own 2 feet. I got my own 2 eyes, and I got my own 2 hands, and I got my own heart. And you don't own it, you don't control it. So we're not. I just couldn't fathom that. I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
And that's where me and Chris spread our ways at that point. If you know the history between me and Chris, let me put this disclaimer: I love my brother. God bless the dead. I disagree with a lot of things that he did, but I forgave him for what he did. You know what I'm saying? One of the things that we were dealing with that made us separate was the fact that I was a practicing Muslim, My wife is a niqabi. She's a practicing Muslim, and she wears the face veil. Whatever he got going on back then, whether he had contracts, military contracts, or he just didn't like the fact that I didn't fit in with his group, I was cool with that. I don't have a problem with that. You know what I mean? But we're supposed to be family, right? We're supposed to be family. If you have an issue with a family member, you pull that to the side and you address me like a family member. You don't address me like I'm everybody else. You're supposed to let me know what was taking place and hit me up and let me know, okay, this is our protocol. You got to follow our protocol or leave. I can respect that. I can respect that. But when I got to hear it through a third party, fourth party that I am no longer a part of the organization, my heart wasn't broken by that. Because I just came back. 2006, I just went to the Sama. I met them, I met the group, beautiful group of people, Tom Kyer, the Kayanan brothers, Felix, I seen Felix, everybody else that was there. I met them, the Atienza brothers. I met them, but love them brothers, beautiful brothers. But I cannot have anyone telling me what I cannot do. Sorry, I just can't do it. I can't do it. So one day I was training with the Sayakali group. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yep.
I was training with the Sayakali group in Manhattan with another gentleman who was a guru. And I was given instructions to piggyback behind him and bring him up to speed with how we did things back in the days and to learn the updated material. Now, mind you, all this new material that's being taught, I have no clue what the heck they're doing.
Right.
Me thinking that my rank from the past meant something now, it hold no weight because they weren't doing what we was doing back then. So I'm looking at all this stuff like, where did this come from? I don't remember seeing this stuff. This has got to be new. And sure enough, Chris started to develop the Sayakali curriculum. I think it was 1991, if I'm sadly 1991 with the other two Huns that just became two Huns at that time. Felix, the Kayanan brothers, Tom Kyer, the Arnaldo, and them, they were back then, and Roberto Torres. He was working with Roberto Torres. And I did not know what 3 of 9 meant. I didn't know what transition drill meant. I was totally lost, but I learned fast, right? But me being Muslim and being a part of them, one of the gentlemen asked me, what is the name of your way and how you do Filipino Kali? And I told them, Sirat As-Sayf. And they said, what does that mean? The same thing the Sayat Kali meant, the art of the sword. Mine meant the way of the sword, right? Like the code of Bushido, except for we have our Islamic terminologies. We have our hadiths that we practice, and everything that we do is in according to Quran and Sunnah, right? The way what Allah says in the Quran and what Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, commanded us to practice with as a Sunnah. So, for one example, a Muslim is not allowed to smack another human being in the face. We're not allowed to punch the face. It is impermissible to hit this part. You can hit the top of the head, you can hit behind the head, you can hit the throat, but you can't hit the face. I could take your head off, I just can't cut your face. Right?
Plenty of good targets there. Just don't,
yeah, right. Plenty of good targets. Right. So this is what we was learning. And one of the brothers in the organization got upset and called me a terrorist.
Oh shit.
And because of the name Sirat As-Sayf, it said it sounded too much like the Filipino mortal group.
Abu Sayyaf.
Abu Sayyaf. And they kept messaging that like, you sound like Abu Sayyaf. Like, are you one of them? I said, excuse me, what do you mean by am I one of them? I'm a Muslim. Yes, I am a Muslim. Am I against oppression? Yes, I am against oppression, wherever it is. No matter who it is, I'm against oppression. So if it's Americans oppressing them, if it's the English oppressing them, the Spanish, the Filipinos oppressing them, if it's Marcos or whoever's in office, I'm against anyone oppressing those who's trying to uplift themselves and be a better person and living their life and trying to not be affiliated or associated with terrorism or, whatever you guys got going on. whatever their politics were, I isolated. I was told to leave. I was ostracized. My wife and we was ostracized. I mean, so what? You know, all you did me a favor. You did me a favor. Why? Because you gave me room to build and to create the system that I have today, right? And sometimes it takes other people to put logs in your fire to watch your fire grow, or to create your forge to see what comes out of that forge. Thank you to everyone who participated in putting logs in my fire. Because of that, thank you so much. I am who I am today.
That's right.
Right. So I have no hate for no one.
Well, all the messengers over time, all were ostracized, beaten, killed, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, man's got to go out and we're seeking for our own soul, right? And we're seeking for our own expression.
Right.
You know, we're fighters, but we're artists. You know, we're multidimensional being, and we can't just be stuck in one silo, especially if it's not our silo.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So, you know, my wife and I, you know, it's a funny thing. I had no desires in turning my system public. No desires. I have no intentions of doing so. It was just something that I wanted to do for myself. I gave it a name. I was training by myself. I got married. Alhamdulillah, my beautiful wife, you know, she's with me. She can hear you. She just don't want to be seen. Yeah. Right. And she's also a practitioner of martial arts. She did Kung Fu. She did Aikido. She did quite a few things. And that's how I met her. Because someone who introduced me to her say, oh, she's a martial artist also. And I thought that was quite intriguing that, you know, this Nikabi, she was nice with her hands. Oh, yo, what's up? Bring your hands out. Let's fight. And she did something where she did some tiger claw move where she went behind my neck and scratched the back of my neck. Nice. And mind you, Muslims are not supposed to touch each other.
Right.
Right.
Men and women. Right.
Right. We're not supposed to touch each other. So when she did that, we was like little teenage kids. Like we were inside of our own corner, like, oh shoot, she touched me. Oh shoot, I touched her. And everybody was accusing us of being a couple because we was hanging out so close. I started looking at like, you know, okay, it might be something here, you know?
Sound like a good idea.
Yeah, it might be a good idea, you know? And then I started training with her in Sayakali. I was teaching her the 3 to 9. I was teaching her transition drill 1. We was getting up to 4-12. We was doing that together. And then we was doing my stuff, the stuff that I do with the blade, you know, how I do different grips with the blade, how I manipulate the blade, left-handed, right-handed, you know, stuff like that, because I'm naturally left-handed, but I was trained with Sayakali with my right hand. And my wife said, baby, no disrespect, but you need to concentrate more on the reality of what you do because of your real life experiences. This stuff works. We do not know if anything else you was taught works because it's a theory until it was proven, right? Unless you have someone who could come and tell me, I use this system or I use this bladed art and it saved my life or it got me out of harm's way, or, you know, military, I had to use it, especially for whatever it may be, and it helped me.
Well, someone didn't get past me.
That's another story. My wife was saying, well, some of the guys didn't even get past her. I said, that's another story to tell. we're gonna hold that down for a minute.
It didn't work to get past.
Oh, so she's saying like she was a litmus test, like the stuff that she saw. She's saying that it didn't pass her. Like if she's seen a technique that they did something, like they flipped the blade and they moved it with their hands or whatever. Try that in a fight. Don't show it to me choreography that you created that somebody else is participating with you in. Let somebody come at you and see if that stuff works. That's what we do in Sirat As-Sayf. Whenever you see me do a demonstration or I'm exhibiting something, I tell my students, just attack me. Just attack me. Yeah. And they attack me and then they get my response, depending on what they did, right? But if I'm explaining something, then I tell them strike to my neck, strike here, strike here. I'm explaining, so I'm going to show them where my hands are supposed to be X, Y, and Z. But if they want to see whether Sirat As-Sayf actually works, I simply tell them just attack.
Mm-hmm.
Even new students who come to the dojo and they want to learn the art of the blade, and they come from another system, or they come from jiu-jitsu, they come from another Kali school, and they get cocky or they get arrogant and, I got my black belt or I got this. Listen, leave all that out the door. But you coming to learn, don't give me a half a cup. Bring me a new cup. Let me fill that up.
Yeah.
I don't want a half a cup. Just give me a new cup and I'll fill that up. Because why? That old cup is tainted. And you're going to come with the coulda, shoulda, woulda syndrome, and I don't want to hear it.
It's not just the art of the blade, it's empty hands, dirty hands.
Right. So, like my wife says, it's not just the art of the blade, it's the empty hands.
Right.
You're not always going to have the blade in your hand. You don't walk around with a blade in your hands. You walk around empty-handed. You have to get to your blade before you can defend yourself, right? So a lot of these guys, they automatically start training without the draw. They don't deploy the blade. They don't practice when and where to deploy the blade. And in Sirat As-Sayf, we emphasize that in our footwork. After we develop the footwork, and I think that you're up to par with your footwork, then I start advancing you and teaching you where your hands belong, where you draw your blade from different locations. So like, same thing like in Sayakali, they have multiple blades. Respect it. Sometimes a good reason to have multiple blades. Me being Puerto Rican, I always kept more than one blade. That's just me growing up from the 6th grade up. I always had multiple blades on me. Maybe he caught that from me. I don't know. That's a disclaimer. I don't know. I'm only kidding, right? But I always learned to keep more than one blade on me. Even since from the 13 all the way up to 61, I always have more than one blade on me, right? And that's the joke that a lot of my grandmaster friends say about me. He said, Najee, where's your blades at today? I said, I don't know. Maybe my wife got them. Who knows? Go ask her. It won't go to her. They gotta get papao.
Yeah.
Right? Don't go over there because she's gonna let you know where the blade is at. You're gonna feel it.
The first saw it, yep. In the hall. Okay.
It's funny. And so that's one of the things that we did. We dealt with the footwork, and then we deal with the deployment of the blade, and we do multiple blade deployments. If I already got one blade in one hand and I'm using it, right, then I'm gonna deploy another blade, I'm gonna throw that blade, and I'm still gonna cut.
Yeah.
Right. So you got to learn how to deploy another blade, how to deploy a throwing blade, and hopefully it's ergonomically correct in your hands, so you can learn how to manipulate. Because you can, even with two blades in your hands, you can manipulate it so it's not both facing one direction. Right. It can reverse on you, so you could use it for a pakal to a sak grip, that kind of thing. So in my school, that's what we do. But everyone must be ambidextrous, whether you're right-handed or you was born left-handed. You have to learn how to do both. And sometimes I tie their hands up. I tell them for the whole day, you just got left hand. And they'll look at me like I'm crazy. Hey, look, what happens if I cut your arm? What you gonna do with it? You got to use your left hand. So get as comfortable with your left as you are with your right. But so, and then of course, they advance to a larger sword, not a large sword, but a machete-sized sword. Yep. And then from there, they grow to a longer sword. So they have to learn how to use their ranges from their blade to their machete to their bolo.
From their hands.
From their hands, and it progresses. It constantly progresses,
And then also to improvise weapons.
Yeah. And one of the things that my wife loves to teach the Muslim women is how to deal with the improvised weapons. Yeah. Because we don't allow the Muslim women to wear uniform. They wear their regular clothing, they wear the niqab, they wear their dress, and they learn to use their uniform, their hijab, as their uniform. And so I give for an example, in our ranking system, the women don't wear a belt around their waist. They wear a crown. It's like you're gonna see a braid above their eyes.
Oh, nice.
And their rank is above here. Why?
Or the sleeves.
Or the sleeves. Like you can see their sleeves, and their sleeves might have a different color. So that the person who is looking at the Muslim woman is not looking here. It's not looking at the waistline or the backside. Now they gotta look above the eyes, right? And at the hands. That's the only thing that can be seen, right? So that's the only thing they can look at. So keep your eyes in that direction. You want to see how intelligent she is? Look at her from the eyes up. You don't have to concentrate on her beauty. That's what we're trying to protect. We're trying to protect her beauty, right?
Yeah.
So if you put the belt on her waist, where you're going to concentrate your eyes at?
Right, right.
Between her beauty, right? So why would you do that? And then you're going to make her hips tight. You're going to make her waist look like her form figure is going to look like an hourglass. So we don't want to do that. We don't want to accentuate the body. So we leave that alone. Yeah. And for us, for the men, it's the sword. We don't have, like, you will hear the white belt, yellow belt, blue belt, you will hear that. But the ranks that my guys get works from the barong to the kapilan to the Chris. From the stick to be the beginner student, to the barong to be a full student, the kapilan to be the master, and the Chris sword to be a grandmaster.
Oh, nice.
And that's the ranking system.
That's a great way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that way, people say, "Oh, I got a black belt." So let me see your black belt. And that's when I know they're lying, because I don't give out black belts.
Right.
I give you a certificate with a sword, and it's engraved in the sword, and you use that sword. You don't just keep it up on the wall. It's a training blade that you use to train with. You know what I mean? So if I see you with your barong, you're training with it, I know what rank you are. If you're just using a stick, you're not permitted to use the sword yet. You got to learn how to maneuver with the stick first, and then that way I know you know how to maneuver your hands. Then I'm gonna put a sword in your hand, because now you have the respect, you have the courtesy, you got the discipline to hold a live weapon or to use a baton. Because even if it's a training blade, as you know, it can still hurt you. You can still hurt somebody. So in our system, that's how we do our ranking.
Very nice. That's interesting. I haven't heard anyone else do it that way, and it makes
That's
sense because you're teaching on levels of an approach, right?
Right.
To the art. And the higher the level, the higher the weapon, or the bigger the weapon, or the more deadly the weapon, so that your rank shows by the weapon you're permitted to use. That's actually without having to do all the colored belts and stuff like that.
That's commercial.
It's just all modern anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all modern. Yeah, because back in the days, judo didn't have. They had a white belt. They had a black belt.
Black belt. That's it.
That's it. And that's the only way you can differentiate between a beginner and an advanced student.
Right.
Right. Then only down the road, when it became Americanized, that's when you started getting all these other color belts. And then now they even added these yellow stripes with the orange, with the green, and crazy. And that's all money. It's money. At the end of the day, the parent is spending like $6,000 on on something that the kid can't fight. He's still getting beat up.
Yeah.
That's sad. I had one student who came to me. He was a black belt in karate, right? And it was a mixed style of karate mixed with something else. I forgot what it was. And he was like, mind you, Mark, he was 11 years old. He had a black belt in karate. I said, when did you start? Oh, I started when I was 8. Impossible. He said, why you say that? I said, you don't get a black belt in 3 years. What school did you come from? I said, matter of fact, better yet, one of my top black belts, he's a ninth dan in Shotokan Karate. I'm going to have him test you. This kid could not even perform the green belt level katas in karate. He couldn't perform them. He messed up and everything. I said, how are you going to give me, you telling me you're a shodan and you can't even perform a green belt kata?
Yeah.
Let me see if you know the yellow belt katas. And he messed up on the yellow belt katas. I said, there's no way I am going to rank you anything higher than a yellow belt. And the mother, there's no lie, Mark, my wife is listening. The mother came to the dojo and said, he's a black belt. I paid for it. I said, exactly.
Right.
You said it.
Everybody passes.
You could have just went. Right. I said, ma'am, I could have sent you upstate. I could have sent you to Jamaica Avenue, send you to the martial arts supply store, tell the guy at the door, you want to buy a black belt with his size, and he would have gave it to you.
Yeah.
You would have saved yourself a lot of money. If that's all you wanted was for him to get a black belt, you could have just bought it. You could have bought it online. But if you want to tell me he's supposed to be a black belt, prove it. Show me. Because in this school, we don't have black belts like that, especially not at 11 years old. Not at 11. you would have been a brown belt until you was an adult, and then you would have got the black belt.
Yeah.
You know?
I was 6-year-old.
And then he couldn't even fight my 6-year-olds. That's sad. An 11-year-old who couldn't even fight my 6-year-old. This 6-year-old was a tiger. This kid, he was a Yemenis tiger. This kid beat him up bad. And he's 6 years old. That's sad.
Now, when did you open your school? Was that in Queens? Your school? Where was your school?
Yeah, that was in Queens. Yeah, the school was in Queens.
When did you open?
Well, the school is in. We opened in 2017, right before COVID.
Oh man.
Yeah, right, and literally right before COVID, we spent so much money on this place. We bought a brand new 12-seater van. We put a wrap on it.
Yeah.
Then COVID came. My business went flop. I tell you, Mark, if it wasn't for unemployment, I would have been in the streets.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was. I mean, I don't have to tell you, you know what it was like. And yeah, it was really bad. It was really bad. Now the school is closed. Now Now I'm working, I teach out of my brother, Sifu Raul Ortiz's place.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
he teaches the praying mantis kung fu. You know, shout out to my brother, Sifu Raul Ortiz. That's my brother. Beautiful human being. I love training with him. You know, he's teaching me the TNT, the tactical mantis system. You know, I'm authorized to teach as an instructor, the bladed arts at his school, and beautiful relationship we have.
Wonderful.
A wonderful human being. I never met another crazy Puerto Rican like me that do the things that he do, bro. That's one sick beast. That's one person. When I say he can kick butt, he can kick butt. And he won't exaggerate. That's one person that I vouch for, that I say, when he say he can kick your butt, he can kick your butt.
Now, where's that school located for people who might want to come train with you?
That's 770 Middle Neck Road in Great Neck, New York.
Okay.
That's on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. For those who want to train. And leave politics alone. Don't come with your politics. If you came from another school, leave it home. Come and train, man. I got something to offer you. You never did it my way. Don't try to do it your way if you haven't learned it my way yet.
Yeah.
You know, all I can do is enhance what you already have. You know, that's the beautiful thing about it. And now, as you know, there's a wonderful new magazine that came out, The Deadly Art of Survival.
I saw you were on the cover.
Yes, sir.
I was so proud, man. I looked at that. I was like, that's my brother Najee. He's on the cover getting his respect. I love it. Love it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mark. And this is a perfect opportunity because this magazine is #1 in the world. It is being seen by 91 different countries. It's #1 on Amazon. You can purchase the magazine on Amazon. There's a lot of beautiful magazines already out. Whoever's listening to this podcast, listening to my brother Mark Wiley, please go pick up the magazines.
I'm going to put a picture of it up on the screen.
Let me be the first one to tell you. Yeah, that'll be great. Mark Wiley will tell you, I am not a racist. I'm far from a racist. I love every color on the rainbow: white, black, Hispanic, Chinese, Filipino, polka dots. I don't care what you are. You're my brother. But this is the first magazine ever where I saw 98% of the people of color on the magazine.
Yep,
you cannot show me any other magazine where people of color was on the cover.
Yep.
If he wasn't Jim Kelly, if he wasn't Bruce Lee, if he wasn't Michael J. White, or anybody that was an action star figure, if he wasn't Wesley Snipes, you're not getting on the cover. But there's so many talented grandmasters and masters who have not yet, including yourself, Mark, who have not yet been on the cover of this magazine. And I will plug in a word for you.
Thank you.
But for sure, this magazine is being seen by thousands of people around the world. And I am honored and I am privileged and I am humbled to be able, for the first time in my life, to be on the front cover of a magazine. And it happens to be the #1 magazine in the world.
Yep.
And I have a beautiful story to tell. The same thing like you're listening to the podcast, but it's going to be more in depth of the story of my life and why I chose to be a martial artist. And I'll give you one quick story that you will be able to read in the magazine.
Sure.
When I was 5 years old, my mother sent me back in 1969. I'm telling my age, I'm really old. Just don't let the beard fool you. Right? In 1969, my mother sent me. Yeah. My mother sent me to a Chinese restaurant to get change for a $5 bill. Mind you, I'm 5 years old with a $5 bill. Back in 1969, you can go grocery shopping with a $5 bill, right? So a young kid, a young Black African-American kid came and stole the money from my hand and ran down the block, right? So I ran home and I told my mother that I got robbed. My mother is an old Puerto Rican lady. She's old, hip, from the South Bronx. She knows how the South Bronx get down. She said, go get a bat, go get a brick, go get a bottle, pick up a stick, and go over there and go get my money. Now, I know that meant that if I didn't come back with that money, I'm going to get papao. I'm going to get licks. I don't want to get licks from my mama. All right? So I went down the block. I saw the kid. I went to go get my money. He beat me up again. He beat me up, right? First and last time I got beat up. I went over there, I took my licks, I came home. My mother said, okay, cool. You try to fight, no problem. But from this day forward, you're going to learn self-defense. I promised myself from that day that will never happen again.
Yep.
It will never happen again. I trained so hard. I trained so hard that it will never happen again. And I learned combat jiu-jitsu. I learned from this guy named Colonel Woody. He was teaching us at the St. Louis Cadets down on Cypress Avenue, right, in the South Bronx. This guy just came home from Vietnam, literally months. So you know his PTSD was off the chain, right? So he's coming, he's taking us to Van Cortlandt Park. He's teaching us how to do booby traps and shrapnel, guerrilla warfare. And mind you, we're like, come on, I'm 5, 6 years old. What the hell do I know about booby traps and snares and, you know, glass and instead of using, you know, back then we had these pump air guns, right?
Yeah, the pump rifle.
He would mix shrapnel like glass and dirt and put it in there and pump it and shoot. That's what we was taught when we were young. We was taught that.
Explains a lot.
Yeah, you know, so that just changes my state of mind and how I think and how I work. Like,
yeah,
you know, we just became fearless young kids growing up in the South Bronx. And, you know, we grew up in an era where when you came out the door, you look up, you look to your left, you look to your right, because on the left side, you had the bachelors. On the right side, you had the Savage Skulls. Above you, you had the Savage Nomads. Down the block, you had the Black Liberation Army. Down the block from there, you had another group of gangsters called, you know, the Young Savage Skulls. You had them all over the place, and they were looking for young brothers like myself to be the holster to carry the weapons so that they don't get in trouble. We won't get in trouble. They will just get our butt whooped, kicked in the butt, and sent about our way, right? But I refuse. So every time I went to walk to school, literally 3 days out of the week, I'm fighting. 3 days out of the week, I am fighting. I am fighting. And whether win or lose, I'm fighting so that I would not be a gang member. I refuse to want to be a gang member. My mother will kill me if I join the gang, right? My mother wasn't having it. She was trying to raise 3 young men by herself with no father in the house. You know what I'm saying? Trying to raise 3 young men by herself. And the worst thing she wanted to deal with is dealing with the police and saying that her son was arrested. That was an embarrassment to the family. She's not having it, right? So she did everything that she could to keep us off the street. So she enrolled us in martial arts school, and that was like a haven for us, a haven, you know, to get off the streets, especially what was going on back then with all the gang activity. Being in a martial arts school, I was able to do my homework, I was able to do my martial arts and go home. that was it. That was my regular, and riding my bike. I had to ride my bike. That was like my
your
my
freedom.
escape, my freedom. I was able not to be on the block. I was in another county. My mother didn't know I was riding my bike all the way to another county. As long as I got home before that light turned off, you know what time it is. When that light turned off, your behind better be in the house because dinner's on the table. And unless you want to eat it for breakfast, you better have it on time, because if you're not sitting at that dinner table at 7 o'clock, that plate goes in the refrigerator and you're not allowed to touch it till the morning. That's going to be your breakfast. That was my life. That was every day. But I didn't grow up with G.I. Joe dolls. I didn't grow up with these beautiful little dolls that these kids had. I grew up with knives. I got my $5 bill, and whatever my mother gave me for an allowance, I would go to the Kung Fu store, buy some shurikens, buy some posters, buy some blades, or whatever weapons that they had that was less than $5. I owned it already. I owned them. And I used to go to school with it every day. I used to keep weapons on me every day to school. And a lot of my friends knew that that's what they wouldn't mess with me, because I'm going to stab you. I had a reputation that I will cut you and I will stab you. I'm not going to hit you with my hands. I'm not going to punch you in your face. I'm going to stab you. That was the way I grew up. That's the way it was in the South Bronx. It was, unless the guy that I knew that he was going to give me a fair fight, I'll keep my blades in my pocket and I use my hands and I'll fight him. No problem. But if I knew he was dirty and I know he had a reputation for being dirty, guess what? The Puerto Rican side going to come out and I'm going to cut you. I'm going to cut you. And that's the way I was raised. And my mother like, what happened today? And I would say, okay, cool. You still alive? Good. Bye. That was life. That was my mother's way of living, you know? So I had to do it that way. And she was like, if you go out there and you got into trouble or you got into a fight and your brothers didn't help you, I'm going to beat you up and your brothers. That's how it was. It wasn't against one. You had to fight all three of us. Not one, all three. Win, lose, or draw, you're fighting three of them. That's the way it was. You're not fighting by yourself. You're fighting as a family. One lose, everybody loses. One wins, everybody wins. Until I learned to fight for myself. You know, but that's how it was, bro. That's life. Now
you're chill because you've got Islam, you know.
Yeah, now
you
I'm
found
grounded.
a spiritual center.
Yeah, I'm grounded. I'm spiritually grounded. I'm married. I got a beautiful family. I got grandchildren.
Oh.
You know, I'm so happy. I'm a proud grandfather. I got beautiful children. And I'm just happy. I'm laid back. I'm not thinking about nothing else. Honestly, I'm not even concentrating just on my martial arts. I'm concentrating on my legal career. I'm also a paralegal. I do civil law and criminal law. Yeah. Nice. So I've been doing that for a long time. And thank God I'm getting really good at it. I go into the prison systems. I deal with the inmates and their civil rights issues. And I help them get out of bad situations. So a lot of fun.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah. So, you know, you can either be deadly with a pen or you could be deadly with a sword.
That's right.
I just happen to be pretty decent with both.
Let's pull a little Islam and martial arts together for a minute.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about, there's a concept in Islam, and forgive me because I don't know a lot about it, but called nafs, right?
Nafs.
The nafs, yes. Right? And from what I understand, these are the things that people need to overcome that kind of control them. Like is it your behaviors or your beliefs or like things that are explain that to me if you could, or to us, because
so
I want to see
your nafs. No, you finish your sentence. Finish your sentence.
It's just because I think there's a connection with that and your practice of Islam with overcoming things then as a martial artist, that martial arts alone maybe doesn't. You can be great. I know a lot of guys who are great at martial arts and they're still, you know, assholes, right? They're still little boys in men's bodies.
Absolutely.
And I think the nafs have something to do with it, right? So having a modality to kind of combat that within yourself, your own demons, that you don't have to continue to be a bully, you know, in your adult life.
Right. So your nafs is basically your ego, right? Your nafs. When you keep in your discipline and your ego in check, learning to keep your anger in check, right? So during the time of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, when Ali, the cousin of Prophet Muhammad, was about to take off one of the enemy's head. He's about to chop his head off, right? He had him on the ground. He was about to strike him. The guy that was on the ground spit him in his face. Now, you know, if you get spit in the face, what's the first reaction you're going to want to do? Punch him in his face. You want to rip his head off, right? That's disgusting. He stopped in midair, got off of him, and walked away. So the guy came up to him and said, "You had the chance to kill me. Why didn't you kill me?" He said, "Because if I would have did it, I would have did it from my own knobs. Instead of doing it fi sabilillah, I wouldn't have been doing it for the Allah's cause. I wouldn't have been doing to propagate Islam. It would have been because Ali was hurt, his ego was hurt, and his knobs was challenged, right? So he stopped. Because of the discipline of Ali stopping and not killing him for that cause, that person became a Muslim.
That's insane, because in the midst of a heated combat, and you got a blade out and you're intent on beheading this person, and you have enough presence of mind to say, instead of you get spit on and F you and chop, you're like, wait a minute, this changes why I'm doing it. I need to step back. That is discipline. That is discipline.
So for me, I say the best form of self-defense is not to offend. If I can create a win-win situation, it is better for me than to strike. If I can leave you in peace, I don't have to leave you in pieces, right? This is the way I think, right? I feel better knowing that if I can disarm you verbally, I don't have to disarm you physically. Like I can say, you know what, you're right. Even if I know you're wrong, you're right. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you. And I will walk away. Because verbally winning and losing, how's that going to benefit you and me? You just want to win the argument? Okay, got it. You got it. You won the argument. No problem. If it was the issue of right or wrong, and I know that it's not going to benefit us to fight or verbally hurt each other, I'm going to be the better man, and I'm going to back out. And I'm not going to assault you anymore with my words or with my actions. I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave because I know that wrong. I was wrong, but he left. He was the better man. To me, that's a trophy, right? Because I know that at that point, I'm still disciplined enough to deal with my nafs. Here I am walking the streets, Mark, and I know what I'm capable of doing. I know what I'm capable of doing. Right. I know that I can easily annihilate a person in seconds. That's easy, right? But why? Why? Why should I demonstrate it when it was not needed? If I see that there's an exit, Najee is going to use that exit because I have nothing to prove to you. I know what I'm capable of doing. I don't need to demonstrate that on you. You do not need to be my victim. Even though you're antagonizing me, even though you're threatening my life, I'm still going to try to leave. I'm not going to sit there and fight with you. I'm not going to pull out a knife. I'm not going to wait for you to harm me, so I am leaving. Now, if I did all that and you still corner me where I have no exit, I have nowhere to go, and you're trying to harm me or a member of my family, you're better trying to harm me and get mercy from me than you trying to put your hands on my wife, my children, or my loved ones. You may not get the same mercy. It's a difference. With me, I might say, okay, it's just me. But now you're trying to harm somebody who I really love. You're gonna be talking to God fast. You understand?
Yeah.
You're gonna be talking to him real fast if you touch one of my members of my family. With me, I might just beat you up a little bit, let you stay on the floor, let you think about it, smack you up a little bit, and let you defog your mind and think about why you did something so stupid. That might be all. Even if you had a knife in your hand, I might just not pull out my knife. I might just disarm you, throw it to the side, smack you up a little bit, lump you up, and let you think about what you did wrong. I don't want to kill you. I don't want to hurt you, even though I know I can. Do I need to? No, I don't need to. I don't want to spend 15 years in prison hugging a pillow in an 8x10 cell for something because my nafs got the better of me.
Yeah.
You understand? Because my knobs got the better. Because when you sit down and you cool off, you come back and think about it, right? I'm going to teach you something that was most profound that we learned in Islam. One of the members of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he was one of the Sahabas, one of the inner circles of the people who was closest to him. They call Sahabas, the people who was closest to him, right? One of them said, Ya Rasulullah, O Prophet Muhammad, so, peace be upon you, teach me something beneficial. He said, La takzab, la takzab. He said, give me something more profound. He said, La takzab. He says, do not become angry. Do not become angry. Do not become angry. He said, if you find yourself becoming angry, stay quiet. If staying quiet don't benefit you, sit down. If sitting down don't benefit you, make wudu, make ablution, and make the 2 rak'ah. Go bow down. If you still angry after you pray, something's wrong with you. Right? Something's wrong with you because you're not in control. Because the salah soothes the mind, soothes the soul. You're talking to Allah. How could you be angry and you're talking to Allah? How? How could you still be angry? Unless you're not praying right. You're just going through the mechanics. You're not praying if you're just going through the mechanics. Right? But for me, alhamdulillah, praise be to Allah, that when I find myself being angry, I put my hands in my pocket and I'm silent and I reflect and I dhikr. I make supplication to Allah and I just say, praise be to God, praise be to God, praise be to God, glory be to God, glory. Whatever I'm saying it to calm down, to lower the volcano status and let it get lower and lower so it don't get past my throat. Because once it gets past my throat, sometimes I can't control it after that. But I have to learn how to get it past here to bring it down here. As long as it's underneath here, I'm cool. Over here, the only one that can control that is my wife. I don't know how she does it. She calls my name and she says something and it helps me regulate. Because 98.9% of the time, I'm with my wife. 98.9% of the time, I'm with her. That's like my personal bodyguard. When she sees that I'm about to explode, she'll say, Najee, Najee, yes, Najee. Okay. And I fall back. I know what she's doing. She'll grab me by my hand, she'll pull me to her, and she'll say, Najee, in that tone, that was I know what she means by Najee, chill out. Don't hurt him. Don't do nothing stupid. He don't deserve it. Because whatever you got built up inside you, you don't want to regurgitate that up and harm somebody with the things that you know how to do. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense. Yep. Thanks for explaining. I appreciate it.
That explains the nafs. The nafs is your ego. That is your pride. That is your desires. You know, how you want to conduct yourself at that moment, and your lack of discipline or your discipline, right? So you have to be in control of your nafs as a Muslim. That is why we say jihad. When you use the word jihad, it doesn't mean a holy war, as you hear in, out in the streets. Jihad means a war within yourself.
Yeah.
You're fighting that struggle to keep your nafs in check. That's where that comes from. Honey, can you set this up for me? Which one do I use? This one, this little one? Yeah, hold on a second. I just want to make sure that my camera. One second. See how this thing is working. This is not for this. Yeah, which one, baby? This one? Oh, no, this is iPhone. My wife is more technically inclined.
Well, women are smarter than men, so.
Well, I have to agree with that.
Yeah.
When it comes to, and I don't mind admitting to that.
Yeah,
you know,
ingenuity, y'all got intelligence.
Yeah.
I'm
You hear my wife?
interviewing her next time.
Huh?
I'm interviewing her next time.
Yeah, I'll be glad to keep me off the screen. Get her on the screen. You're gonna get a whole lot from her.
Yeah.
You know,
I just don't want her to smack me through this video. Whack.
nah, she's very, very, she graduated from Columbia University with a bachelor's degree.
Wow.
Yeah, with 4 children, a job, and a husband, and she still graduated with a high honors.
That's great. That's so fabulous.
And she went to Columbia University with a GED.
Wow, with a GED.
Imagine that. She went there with a 9th grade education, and she didn't finish the 9th grade. She went and got a GED, then went into Columbia University.
That's incredible. It really.
She reads books backwards. She literally reads books, but like you give her a textbook, she's gonna read the last chapter, then the first.
Spoiler alert.
The professor's upset, like,
right.
Yeah. You're like she
break down the complex to the simple.
Yeah, she just likes she likes the challenge. My wife is definitely compatible when it comes to academics. She likes to be combative when it comes to academics.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
But you got any more questions for me, brother?
I don't know, man. You said you gave the whole history. I didn't have to ask anything.
Hey, I wanted you to make it simple for you. You don't have to dig anything out. You know?
That was great.
But you know, Mark, I have to say that my journey as an FMA instructor is still going.
Yeah.
I don't believe that I will ever quit until Allah puts a period at the end of my sentence. But I am slowing down as of creating a business with it.
Yeah.
I'm not inclined to open up another dojo. I'm going to do it where if someone wants to learn, if they seriously want to learn, they're going to have to come seek me out.
Yep.
And then they will have to pay out of pocket what I believe I'm worth. If you don't believe what I'm worth, then you don't need to train with me, right? And one guy asked me, you know, why do you charge so much? I said, if you have to ask for the price, you don't need to be my student.
Right.
Because if you don't respect my price, you don't respect my what I have to teach you, then go somewhere else. You know what I mean? There's no one else teaching what I teach. It's only me. If you want to go learn Sirat As-Sayf, go find another instructor that's going to be approved for you to learn from. And I guarantee you won't. Why? Because I'm the only one teaching it.
And mind you don't have to be Muslim. We teach everybody.
And
as long as they have good integrity.
Yeah.
That's what we're not going to have.
And I just want to make it be clear. Just because I am Muslim, and this is a Muslim-based martial arts system, you do not have to be a Muslim to learn it.
Right.
You don't have to be. 2 of my top students are not Muslims. Matter of fact, they atheists.
No,
okay. One of them, my wife is correcting me. No, they're not. They just don't believe in religion.
Agnostic. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't believe in religion. They don't follow any Jesus. They don't follow Muhammad. They don't follow Musa. They don't follow Ibrahim. They don't follow none of that. They just believe that there's a creator, and that's it. That's all they follow. They don't want to accept no Bible, no Quran, no Torah. They don't want to hear that. They just So leave it at that.
Have things,
but
because that's something that's personal, and you may not share it in terms of
My wife is talking in the background. She's saying that sometimes they don't like to talk about their religious beliefs or what they believe in. And they don't like to deal with the politics of talking religion.
But we do require.
Come closer. You don't have to see you, but come closer. He can hear you, honey. He can't hear you from there. Can you hear her?
I can hear her. Okay, it's okay.
We do require that you have good integrity.
Yep.
We do require that you have the Muslim manner. Okay, the Muslim manner is a humanistic manner. That means that you look out for your fellow person. You don't like to be hurt. You don't hurt. You hungry, you feed. It's that kind of thing. It's just a
reciprocity. Yeah.
Yeah, on a humanistic level.
Yeah. Be a good human being.
Right. That's it. And that's what we require as a student. Like, you can come to my school and you can tell me and this is a true story. A guy came to me, Muslim brother, long beard and the whole 9 yards, the thobe and everything, right? I want to learn how to kill with a blade.
Oh, sure.
I said, what? He said, yeah, I want to learn how to kill with a blade. I said, you need to go up the block, down the corner, and away from here because we don't teach that here. Yeah, but I was told that you're the nicest one with a blade. I said, well, listen, bro, you need to be on social media. You go on Instagram, you're going to find a whole lot more in the same area and go to one of their schools. Yeah, but I want to learn the art of the blade. I'll say, okay, cool. So you got Saya Kali, you got Atienza Kali, you got a couple of schools down here. Go to them. But don't come to me because I'm Muslim and I teach the art of the blade.
Right.
Right? So now, brother, I was told, I said, bro, who's your handler? Now he want to stop talking. So I already knew he was sent to me as an informant, either for the FBI, NYPD, or whatever alphabet you want to choose. And my thing is, and I tell them as a disclaimer, look, I'm Muslim. I am an American citizen. I believe in the Second Amendment right. You have a right to bear arms. You have a right to self-defense, right? I don't teach Hamas. I don't teach Al-Qaeda. I don't teach Intifada. I don't teach any of those type of organizations or anybody who thinks like that. I don't teach them. If you're a Muslim, you pray, you go to the mosque, you're not affiliated with no stupidity, and I vet you out and you cool, you can train. But if we find out down the road that you want to be a part of that stuff, you get kicked out.
Yeah.
I got law enforcement officers that train with me. I got military personnel that train with me. I got government officials that train with me. I got lawyers that train with me. So I'm sure they check my background. I'm sure they know who I am, what I've done, X, Y, and Z. Why are they comfortable with me? And yet you want to come up in here and disrupt that harmony, right? And I don't do that, brother. I don't teach none of that stuff. You know what I mean? And I'd be proud to. I'm an American citizen. I was born, raised here in the United States, in New York. I don't come from Morocco. I don't come from Saudi. I don't come from Yemen. I don't come from none of them countries that you believe you got beef with. I don't have them problems. I don't got them problems. And I'm not looking for them problems. I want to travel peacefully. I don't want to be red flagged. I don't want to go to the airport and say my name comes up and, I can't go here, I can't go there. I don't want them problems. Doesn't mean that I will not defend myself. It doesn't mean that I won't defend my country. I won't defend my beliefs. I will defend my beliefs. I will defend my country. I will defend myself. I just don't want the politics in my school where you have certain ideologies and say, if you want to do this, you want to do that, and that you learned it from me.
Right.
I don't want that. Right. I don't partake in that. So if anybody who knows me that I don't change my stripes for nobody. The way you see me today is the same way you're gonna see me tomorrow. I don't change my stripes for no. I don't care who you are or how much money you got. I have millionaires. My wife will tell you I have millionaires come through my door and says, you got to teach me. So I ain't got to do crap. You keep your money and go somewhere else with it. I don't need your money. It's not about your money. I don't need money that bad. Well, I want to bring 5 guys. Keep your 5 guys. Keep your money. Keep them out of my school. I don't need them here. Yeah, but only you can teach them what I want them to learn. I said, well, then that's too bad. Change your ideology, change your way of thinking, and then we'll talk.
No, you can't just change.
You know, prove it. You got to prove it to me. You can't just say, "Oh, I don't do this no more." You got to prove that you're not with that no more.
Yeah.
You know, because I can't have you associated with me because no matter where I go, your integrity is intact, right? And I am not going to discredit my integrity for nobody. I don't care who you are, how famous you are. I'm not having it. I'm not having it.
That's that's where people have problems with
and
you don't want to do commercialized training in terms of martial arts because we believe that we're held accountable for what we teach.
That's correct.
We're not gonna teach you something out there that's garbage.
You can hear her, Mark?
Yep.
Excellent. Another true story. I had a gentleman, I'm not going to mention his name. I had a gentleman who has a very famous banquet, right? I received this letter, and the letter says, you are the most outstanding martial artist of the year. All right, cool. You want to fluff up my peacock feathers, huh? Okay. So I call him. And he says, who's this? I told him my name. He said, yeah, how can I help you? I said, I received a letter from your office saying that I was the most outstanding martial artist of the year. He said, yeah, I send that to everyone. Yeah. Some people get the ones for Grandmaster. Some people get the Masters Award, Ambassadors. I said, okay, why did you choose me? He says, brother, you're not the only one that got it. I said, tell you what, I am going to decline that because number one, you don't know me. You have no clue who I am.
Yeah.
You don't know nothing about me. You never checked my background. You don't even have a copy of my biography. The only biography you want from me is my $50 bill or my $100 bill.
Oh yeah. Those Hall of Fame things are just pay for the banquet, pay to come in, pay for the dinner, and I'll give you an award that doesn't mean anything.
Right. So to me, I said, no, I'm not, that doesn't float my boat. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That doesn't put wind behind my sail. I'm not fluffed by that. So I respectfully declined, and I declined it, right? So a lot of the guys who went, they was telling me, oh, brother, this guy was here, that guy was there. And what? And what?
So what?
And what? So why? What are they going to do for me? Shake hands with Michael J. White. Shake hands with Cynthia Rothrock. Shake hands. And then what? Now what? Is that going to, does that validate me? No. It don't validate me. I don't need another human being to validate who I am. You want to know who I am? Come meet me. Come sit down. Have a cup of coffee with me. Train with me. Trade blades with me. And then you'll know who I am and what I can do. Then you will respect me. Right? That's how I get down. If you don't believe the Sirat As-Sayf system works, 135-11 Liberty Avenue, come see me. My school opens at 7 o'clock. Step inside, we can have a man-to-man conversation, as men would do. And then you can find out whether my blade works or not. It's up to you. Hand-to-hand, blade, training blade, sticks, whatever you want to do. We can lock, as we say in the street, we can lock ass. No problem. Let's go. I don't have a problem with that. I'm 61 years old, but I still scrap. I ain't got a problem with that. If you want me to explain it to you, I can explain it to you. You want me to demonstrate it to you? I'll demonstrate it to you. You want to find out by yourself? Come get some. Come and get some. I'll be glad to share with you.
But it got to be worth it.
If it's worth it.
Yeah.
If it's worth it. If it's not worth it, you know what? Bye. Bye. I ain't got no time for you. I ain't got nothing to prove to you. Absolutely not. I don't got to explain to you if I'm the biggest and the baddest person, because I'll be the first one to tell you I'm not. I'm not. I'm the furthest one from being the biggest badass in the world. I'm not that person. I am a humble Muslim who loves to do what he loves to do. I love to teach, I love to train, and I love being a practicing Muslim. Simple. I'm a very simple Najee Hassan. There's nothing special about me. I am just a speck of sand in a big, gigantic desert. If you lift it up and toss it up in the air, I disappear. That's how insignificant I am. As a matter of fact, if you was looking up on the World Trade Center looking down, you will never even see me. That's how insignificant I am. You make me who I am. If you find me to be relevant to you, then I'm relevant to you. If I'm irrelevant to you, then I'm still at peace with you. It doesn't matter. I'll still cross paths with you and I'll still shake your hand and I will not even introduce myself to you. I'll just say hello. And that's cool with me. That's cool with me. I just like living a simple life, Mark. That's it. I'm a simple person living a simple life. I don't need luxury. I don't need to be in a big, gigantic house. I could be in a basement apartment, living in a one-bedroom and just chilling with my wife, and I am extremely content. Extremely content. Food, clothing, shelter, a little bit of luxury, and I am a happy camper. Just make sure that I got enough blades to train with, and I'm happy. That's it. Just give me my toys to play with, and I'm a happy man. You know, like I keep my my training bag close by, right? My little training dummy. You know, I always keep it by just in case I got to train. It's always by the door in case I got a boogie on that. That's one of the first things that I grab. Right? That's me. Simple. Go to the backyard, beat up a bag, find my wife, train with her. She could beat me up because I can't beat her up. She beats me up. So
don't believe that. Don't believe that. Disclaimer.
You know, it's just the fun. You know, it's fun. It's just absolute fun. But other than that, Mark, you know, that's it, bro. That's my story.
Thank you.